hard work, hard work, work. There you go.
Forward.
Hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, work. There you go.
Forward.
Hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, work. There you go.
Forward.
Hard work, hard work, hard work.
Fall in.
Hey, what's good? What's good? What's good? What's going on out there in the world? Gracious morning, great tidings. It's a Friday. It's time to get it in. Enjoy another hard working week, and now you can relax. It's me, your boy Trey, the commish, and you're rocking with your favorite vets on the net. First Formation Morning Sports Talk. So get to it, fall in as we get to talking about sports that's been cracking over the last couple of days, hours. It don't make a difference. So a couple of things real quick. Of course, we condolences to the family of Ryan Wyatt, as the former WWE wrestler passed away yesterday. Of course, it's always a solemn point when you're saying a family member or or someone that was in the public eye comes to a demise. But he did pass away, and just wanted to say condolences to him and his families, and always prayers to them as they navigate this time of grief. So going in right this morning marks a little less than 24 hours before we have our first competitive football game in some sort, as it is ready to kick off for the most part. Well, the pre-kickoff, because the actual NCAA football kickoff does not start till next week. But, however, you got to take in consideration that there's plenty to talk about when you basically have football going on. 14 teams will compete tomorrow morning as the beginning of the National Collegiate Athletic Association football season starts. Just a slate of 7 games for the 26th of August. But nevertheless, you have 2 of the top 25 teams that will be competing tomorrow. Probably not as big as we thought, but definitely 2, as the USC Trojans, with the reigning Heisman Trophy winning Caleb Williams at the quarterback, will be hosting the San Jose Spartans. And then, of course, in what would be one of the primetime games of Saturday, the Golden Dome wearing Notre Dame Fighting Irish will be competing against the University of Navy midshipmen up in Dublin at the Aviva Stadium as they open their season up. Other teams to be in play, of course, Jacksonville State will be hosting UTEP. New Mexico State hosts UMass. Vanderbilt will host Hawaii. Louisiana Tech will be hosting Florida International. And last but not least, the San Diego State Spartans will be hosting the Ohio Bobcats, as all these games get to kick off. Of course, the earliest game being the Navy and Notre Dame game, the latest game being the Louisiana Tech and Florida game, and then you catch everything else in between as they go, the season kicks off. So, of course, as I just stated, there is a little bit to talk about, I guess, when you look at it. The preseason rankings were released just about 2 or 3 weeks ago, in which, of course, top team University of Georgia, coming off this second in 2 years national championship victory, leads the charge as they are the number one ranked team in the country after the preseason. Then, of course, University of Iowa falls at number 25. And then, of course, you have 23 other teams in between. Those 23 teams, of course, starting from the bottom to where we will be here at the top. At number 24, University of Tulane out of Louisiana. Texas A&M comes in at number 23. At number 22, Ole Miss. North Carolina comes up in 21. At 20, you have Oklahoma, University of Oklahoma. Wisconsin at number 19. At number 18, Oregon State. TCU comes in at number 17. Kansas State, 16. Oregon at 15. 14 for Utah. At number 13, the aforementioned Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Tennessee Volunteers come back in at number 12. At number 11, University of Texas for all them UT fans. At number 10, University of Washington. And then, of course, going in with the single digits at 9, Clemson. 8, Florida State. 7, Penn State. 6, USC. Number 5, LSU. 4, Alabama. 3, Ohio State. 2, Michigan, and of course 1, Georgia. So, of course, a couple of storylines in between there. Of course, first and foremost, with University of Michigan coming in at number 2, they could be a little sticky situation, as of course we know Jim Harbaugh, their head coach, has been hit for sanctions in reference to recruiting, in which he will be out serving a 3-game suspension for said violation. During this time frame, 4 of the coaches in his staff will be at the helm for them games. That being his offensive coordinator, his defensive coordinator, his special teams coordinator, and his game coordinator. Of course, the special teams coordinator is his son. That will basically split time with the game coordinator for one of the 2 games, which is escapes me at this time. But the expectation is that those games will be, I think, against UNLV. I know UNLV is one of those games. Let me see if I actually pull up which ones. East Carolina. Okay, that's what it is. ECU, East Carolina University, UNLV, and Bowling Green are the 3 games in which Jim Harbaugh will not be able to participate or help or game plan or do anything, because he's going to be away from the team for those 3 weeks, which by the 3rd week of September, he will be back at the helm again, but defensive coordinator Jesse Mincher will be at the helm for their first game against Eastern Carolina on 2 September. His son, Jay Harbaugh, and running back coach Mike Hart will be at the helm for the UNLV game. And lastly, for the Bowling Green game on September 16th, it will be Sharon Moore, who is the offensive coordinator, to basically right the ship for them or keep the ship right as they compete and try to hold on to basically that number 2 ranking. Of course, we know sometimes it's not just about winning. It's all about what your competitors or your other people that are chasing the ranking are doing, as well as what you did in the process. Of course, with that, it can be it might be a tough hold, especially if the Wolverines aren't able to do too well and hold on to big leads or giving up points unexpectedly, in which, of course, the aforementioned Ohio State or Alabama are going to be slipping at their heels, to where they might find a way to jump them in those 4 weeks. I mean, these 3 weeks. Now, what I see potentially Justin, come on, fam. That's what we doing, man. It was, say shout out to the players that got selected for the All Army tryouts coming up, that's just released by Coach Ron Bartley. Checked it out this morning. You gonna say it's a super team, Coach Johnson? You know what I'm saying? That's what's up. Gold is the gold. Y'all know what it is. Welcome to the bro. As you know what, I want to remain as unbiased as I can. It's all about competition. It's all love military basketball. but definitely shout out to those players, those high speed soldiers, lieutenants, sergeants, and everything that were selected to for an opportunity to try out. 22 current 22 on that roster currently. I'm very sure only 12 are able to be enacted. Some usual suspects you see some of the names. It's a super team. I got you, coach. It's, you know what? It's not. You know what? I want to pull up to one of your practices on Sam Houston, man, while I'm out here, just for GP. I mean, I'm very sure the Air Force is going to put just as much as equally a super team as the Army is looking to put forth. But going back to Jim Harbaugh and his inability to put forth a super team, but he has to put forth super coaching in order to make sure that they hold on to their ranking that maybe they may lose or may not lose, depending their performances, of course. Additionally, also, like I said, more storylines, other type of storylines. So as long as as long as there's nothing going on, hazing going on, or anything like that, hey, I'm just there to observe, there so I don't get fined. Just to check it out, see what's going on on the lives of San Antonio. This is my new life, so I gotta see what's on. Michigan, the best 10 in the Big Ten. Right now, baby. So you might be right, sorry, Coach Johnson, because if although Ohio State might have something different to say about that, but we're going to see. You're going to definitely see. All they got to do is weather this storm, and which Coach Harbaugh is going to be out for. Not really any. I'm not going to demean the institutions in which they play and those programs saying that there's not going to be any real challenge. But I mean, let's take, like I said, Bowling Green, UNLV, and East Carolina. East Carolina used to be you give problems or be able to exact problems. That's probably not them at this particular time. So it's just one of those things. So hopefully there's some competitive ball going on during that time frame that make people think like, okay, or say maybe Coach Harbaugh comes back. He's already stated that all 10 of his coaches or his assistants and everyone that's in his staff are at some point are going to be head coaches at some point in some way, form, or fashion. So that's a tall order to say everyone on your staff at some point is going to be a coach. But of course, it remains to be seen. First things first, East Carolina and the navigating the suspension of the head coach of a number 2 ranked institution in the NCAA football, and then we go from there. So we'll see how it goes for the most part. Additionally, like I said, talking about that, just stated 2 teams playing and beat Ohio State 2 years in a row and brought back that talent. Know who their quarterback is, and defense statistically was better last year. Plus, towards the end of the year, you've seen J.J. McCarthy be able to win the games with this play. So that's true. And like I said, but what we have to take in consideration, I think, is the simple fact of, yes, they have finally slayed that dragon and beating Ohio State 2 consecutive years. You good, Traps. But, saying, like, again, shout out, saying, greatly, and saying, was appreciative to see those names and stuff. Saying, I wish he would have shared it, made it shareable, so that way I could have posted it on First Formation page. But in any case, I know it's going to be coming out, or some point it's going to be coming out with the player. So all love, of course. Georgia is not winning the national championship this year, Coach Jay. It's not. I don't see it. I don't know who it is yet. I'm not going to even say it's my beloved Trojans, but it's not Georgia. I don't think Georgia's going to get it this year. Nah, we're not doing that. I can't touch and agree with that one. But like I say, it's plenty going on. Like I said, of course, just what of course Johnson was talking about, J.J. McCarthy, right? So J.J. McCarthy is on one of the lists in reference to Heisman Trophy winners. Of course, we know the current reigning Heisman Trophy winner in Caleb Williams is currently the front runner when it comes to the books. On as far as the odds at a 15-4, I think it is, or 15-9, 15-4 odd at this point. JJ McCarthy is another one of those people, but at a 16-1 odd, along with the rest of the field. Of course, you have Sam Hartman out of Notre Dame that is on that list. Drake May out of North Carolina on that list. Jordan Travis, Florida State's quarterback on that list. Jalen McDaniels from LSU. Bo Nix in Oregon. Quinn Evers out of the University of Texas. JJ McCarthy out of Michigan. And then, of course, a couple of non-quarterbacks as Marvin Harrison Jr., of course, Ohio State, aforementioned, another Big Ten. And last but not least, interesting enough, in which I foresee it was going to happen at some point, because I think he's a dog. He's a problem on that field. What's good, Jay? What's going on, Rodney? Glad to have information with us this morning. Of course, last being Brock. Being Brock Bowers, tight end out of the University of Georgia, as he has been a problem since his onset, and he continues to be a problem. So I think that's going to be he's most likely the most valuable player to Georgia at this time. Of course, we know their running back is currently out due to an injury that he suffered during practice. So Georgia is the target's on their back, especially when Justin was basically stating how Georgia is their time to be the first team to win 3 consecutive CFP championships, or championships within the bowl era. That hasn't been done. USC had a chance in which it faltered to University of Texas and Vince Young and the crew. Now Georgia has an opportunity, but I think Georgia, for the most part, is probably out of the 3 teams that won the championship, is probably at their lowest point, the weakest point, with a lot of their talent gone and having to retool. So we'll see what that looks like in state, basically, as that get ready goes down. But I am very optimistic in reference to the potential to see a possibility of Caleb Williams repeating as a Heisman Trophy winner. And then on the flip side of it, it was stated that Caleb Williams doesn't even have a exact mind if he is going to go pro next year. So we could see him running back for a 3rd possible year at USC to finish up his career as a senior and compete for yet potentially what can be another Heisman Trophy and or championship as a Trojans in a harder conference, because at this point he'll be playing in the Big Ten, to where he can really test his competition in his medal. So of course, shout out to Caleb Williams. Let's get it. Trojans victory. Fight on forever. Now, moving in, what I want to talk about lastly, of course, is the NBA today, because so we're going to move in to some NFL conversation for a second. What's good, Frat? What's going on, Standing? Happy Friday, indeed. Glad to have your information with me this morning, brother. What's good with you? What's crackling? So last night, 2 games. Not going to necessarily talk about them. It's preseason. But 2 games, of course, last night. Pittsburgh throttled the Atlanta Falcons 24-0. And then, of course, the Indianapolis Colts handled and took care of business with the Philadelphia Eagles last night. I think 23-13 or something like that. So in any case, like I said, not really on the scores, or wasn't much, of course. Like I said, teams doing what they got to do, trying to figure out. As this week will be the last week in competition for preseason play. For the most part, as we know, after on next Tuesday, all teams have to be from 90 to 53 man rosters as they prep to get ready for their season to get to going. Uh, this is what it was expected. So a couple things come to mind, right, when taking a look at it. So um, this week, of course, we should see a lot of players that are playing. I know for teams such as the Jets, they're going to have they're going to suit up all their people. Everyone's suiting up that's able to suit up. Get an opportunity to get some burn in, and then go about. And then, of course, take seats. Have Aaron Rodgers makes his debut. Garrett, Sauce, Gardner. A lot of them get an opportunity to suit up and go about it. Of course, the same thing for other 31 teams across the country. Now we get to see make or break with some people, some players, and stuff like that. Now, what we know for sure is that there will be a couple of players that will not be able to suit up or play. Honestly, it's really unfortunate when the first teams that come to mind is the Denver Broncos. I guess karma is a mug because remember all that yin yang, or per the new commercial, I guess the petrol commercial, the yada 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 that was going on from Coach Sean Payton. He is now faced with some unfortunate situations, as almost it seems like his whole wide receiver room is decimated. Of course, we know KJ Hamler, I'm sorry, currently out due to a heart condition in which he was released by the team, so he's not able to play. Tim Patrick, earlier in the beginning of their practice training, he goes out with the Achilles heel injury, so he's out for the season. Rookie Jalen Virgil, he ends up going down with a knee injury. Brandon Johnson, he goes down with a leg injury. And just yesterday, Jared Judy went down with a hamstring injury. So that's 5 wide receivers that are out. Currently, the only person that they have that's serviceable, that has been in the system for a while, is Courtland Sutton. But we know Courtland Sutton faced his own issues and stuff last year. So it's been like 2 years in the making that the Denver Broncos have not been with the quartet, or even let's say trio quartet of wide receivers that basically has been waiting to blow on the scene. Hamler, Judy, Sutton, and Patrick, and now here they are out of those 4. One is available for them to play. So going into their season, that's not a good way to start out. But of course, I guess they got the right coach in the position to be able to right that ship, because the way that that Sean Payton's talked about Daniel Hackett and saying how it was a horrible job and everything he did, I surely hope he's going to be able to weather the storm, as he is going in with some rookie or inexperienced wide receivers and being led by, of course, Courtland Sutton, who, even though he has been in the league a couple of years and has the skills, he's going to lead that. He's going to lead that group. So, of course, you always got to watch what you say and how you say it. But in case this week being the last week in which these teams get a chance to compete and get out there and show and see who's going to be cut, who's going to remain on the roster, of course, creating a domino effect, because it continues to perpetuate that, okay, someone's trash is another man's treasure. Of course, some people get cut with the expectancy that they make it through the waivers and they're able to be offered a position on a practice squad so they can stay within the organization and go from there. So huge, a lot riding on some of the games, of course, and then just as much so, they want to ensure that they keep everyone healthy, so they have an opportunity to enact what it is that they spent all these weeks preparing for, and that's to be on the 53-man roster at the end by come Tuesday evening. Now, interestingly enough, as we know, conversations have been had. Wait, let me make sure I want to cover that portion first. No, let's go here. Dobbs gets a do-over. So now, if you haven't seen Joshua Dobbs, who, taking consideration, last year he was called up after being picked up by the Detroit Lions to work on our practice squad, was given an opportunity to go play and start for the Tennessee Titans, as Ryan Tannehill and Malik Willis were not in the best of conditions. Malik Willis actually wasn't prepared and ready to play for Tennessee and give him an opportunity to win. So Joshua Dobbs got an opportunity in which he turned the opportunity into a start. A short contract, a couple of starts, and then even a callback initially before he was picked up by the Cleveland Browns to be on their squad. Now Joshua Dobbs has afforded himself another opportunity, as he is now a Arizona Cardinal. Now, of course, the expectation is that Dobbs is going to compete with Colt McCoy, 36-year-old Colt McCoy, in the opportunity for him to become maybe the starter, as Kyler Murray still sits and recovers from his injury. So now Dobbs has the opportunity to get that work in, put the work in, and again reenact his career and put himself in position to maybe even get a payday later on, because he might get a larger contract to stay on as the second string. As we know, Arizona kind of keeps around. Colt McCoy has been around the Arizona organization for a long time. So now Dobbs in the fold, able to compete, may just be able, depending on a very sure Colt McCoy is going to be the starter going forward. Dobbs may, especially with Dobbs coming over so late, unless Dobbs shows some prowess, they just go ahead and it's like you can't do no worse. But definitely Joshua Dobbs will be in the building now, Arizona Cardinal, and now with the opportunity for him to become maybe their starter, or lastly, if not anything, their second string quarterback, to be able to replace Kyler Murray if a situation arises again. Additionally, 32 teams in the NFL. Out of the 32 teams, we can kind of submit every first string and second string quarterback for 31 teams, 31 of the 32 teams. The only team to not yet name a quarterback starter, and I guess of course in correlation, then second string, are none other than the Houston Texans. So the Houston Texans currently remain the only team that has not named a starter going for the this season. For me personally, I don't think that's a bad thing. Of course, when you take in consideration looking at my own favorite team of choice, the San Francisco 49ers, as we know day before yesterday, it was reported that Coach Jim Harbaugh, Shanahan, named Sam Darnold as the number 2 backup, and of course Brock Purdy as the number 1 for the season, which puts first round, third pick Trey Lance on the outside looking in, potentially as a third string quarterback. So of course, looking at that, D'Amico Ryans being part of the San Francisco organization just last year, What's going on, Commissioner Mike? Glad to see you in formation with us this morning. Outside of the formations you used to wake up to, of course, being a newly retired part of the DD214 crew. Welcome. Glad to see you up and about, sir. I know you do handling business most likely. So basically, D'Amico Ryans coming from the San Francisco 49ers just last year, of course, I'm sure was able to see and witness and take in what all that looks like. And maybe for the most part, he's not willing to throw his asset or his newly acquired asset out there yet. Just like maybe he doesn't believe OJT or baptized by fire just exactly yet, especially when he has someone such as Davis Mills who did it last year, who was a starter for the most part last year and has competed in the NFL already. And maybe he doesn't just see that everything he needs to see in Stroud as far as he wants to go to be successful. So he's open to not throwing them out there, in which maybe Dave Mills does get the start. And in Houston, for the most part, I know some things that came out is C.J. Stroud stated that he's not really concerned about what's going on or how what everyone else is doing across everyone else being the other teams in the NFL. He only can worry about what's on his plate. And currently, what's on his plate is he's in a competition with Davis Mills to be the starter for the Houston Texans going forth. Of course, I'm very sure there's always going to be looked at for an opportunity for C.J. Stroud to get in there if it's possible. But at this point, no starter has been named, and potentially is going to be that. But I think the writing on the wall to me is Davis Mills might just become the starter, just off the experience to go forth. Of course, when you look at it, I think they're fairly close, in which a difference of 50, I think 56%, roughly 56% on each one's completions during their repetitions during the training. However, Mills does have more yards passing than Stroud does in their short amount of snaps taken. So I don't know if that's going to hold any water, but of course, in my opinion, you don't want to throw your franchise player out there if it's not necessary. Allow some opportunities to kind of like grow. I would say to study and see, but for the most part, not to sit up and diminish the fact that Mills is a professional and he has more experience than C.J. Stroud, but he may not be the one in which you want to be like, oh, I want my quarterback, my third ranked or second ranked quarterback, to sit behind him to learn. But the opportunities to sit and wait for opportunity isn't that bad either. Going back now to San Francisco, of course, out and stated that, or the San Francisco organization let it be known that for Trey Lance, they want to ensure that for this time, at this particular time, the expectation is that Trey Lance will be a part of the San Francisco 49ers going forth, but only as a third string quarterback. Now, expectancy is, we know how quickly the tide like that can turn. We say third string quarterback currently. Last year, Brock Purdy was a third string quarterback as well. And here it is, not even a year later, he's the franchise quarterback for the organization. So we see how quickly things go wrong. We don't know what could potentially happen, barring injuries, performance, or whatever case like that. Trey Lance can find himself back at the helm by season's end, and he can be now the one quarterbacking the team to yet another NFC championship, possibly NFC Super Bowl and the Super Bowl championship. So you don't know what the possibility is. It just looks bleak now, unfortunately. But from John Lynch's conversation yesterday, he did state that the most likely scenario is that Trey Lance will be a 49er. He will be the third string quarterback, and that they want to keep him in the organization because, of course, they believed in him initially. It's just how things go. Additionally, they also said that if a deal came up that was good for Trey Lance in their opinions, as well as the organization, that they will take that into consideration as well. So we don't know what could potentially happen. We may see Trey Lance continue to don the 49 uniform the whole 2023-24 season, or we might see him traded and moved on to greener pastures in the time coming. So it remains to be seen. Possibly Trey Lance may stay a 49er or find him somewhere else. It's hard. It's a hard sell, but saying those things tend to happen. Is all about the business when it comes to it. A couple other things: Rams wide receiver Cooper Kupp. I particularly have an affinity for Cooper Kupp. Love his game. States that he plans to be ready for Week 1 this year as he continues to recover from his injury from last year. A lot going on. I guess when you could look at in Ram country, you got Cooper Kupp. Jalen Ramsey is gone now in Jacksonville. Not Jacksonville. Now in Miami. So Ramsey's gone. Stafford coming back off of injury. Kupp coming back off injury. Running back by committee now. A lot going on to where it's to wonder what it is going to be. When I look at it right now, the NFC West is definitely now that I think about it, a division in the NFC conference that's really possibly up for grabs. Of course, you have, and I think the more suitable organization in the division is the Seattle Seahawks. Unfortunately, when you look at it, the Los Angeles Rams are doing some shifting, and I'm not going to say rebuilding, but shifting around and trying to figure things out to find probably another wide receiver to go alongside Cooper Kupp that's going to be productive now that Allen Robinson is gone. I know they have Shronek. Kupp is coming back off the injury, so Stafford's coming back from his injury, so there's a lot of flux. Although I think Stetson Bennett did show a little upside, so maybe he might be ready to go if Stafford isn't. Now, then you take a look at Arizona. Nuke is gone. Nuke being Johnson. He's in Tennessee now. Again, another running back could be situation going on there. Kyler Murray is currently out with injury. So, of course, we're looking at now Joshua Dobbs or Colt McCoy taking over at the helm. In San Francisco, although they have a plethora of riches in their organization, but at the helm, we don't know what we're going to get in Brock Purdy coming back after his injury. Fairly inexperienced still, although he did have a great year last year. Trey Lance now at the third string. Sam Darnold potentially coming in playing second string, potentially pushing. What's good, TT? Glad to have information this morning. Happy Friday to you as well. So it's a lot going on. So the only team that we can say that kind of has their stuff together right now going into the season is the Seattle Seahawks. They have Geno Smith that's at the helm. Last year's comeback player of the year. Show a lot of upside last year. Had them in contention. Actually went to the playoffs. He's still there. He has his receiving core. And a running back situation isn't as bad. Receiving core, I think he did lose the rookie quarterback and rookie receiver in Jabi from Ohio State yesterday. But for the most part, he still has Lockett. He still has I can't think of his name right now. Their top receiver. So Seattle really has some upside going. I think San Francisco will weather the storm and come out on top in the division. But Seattle right now, if I was to say, has the most upside when it comes down to them going forth into the season for the NFC East, that NFC West in that division. Although I think San Francisco will be victorious by season's end. So going on into the round ball, NBA action we know is fantastic. So a couple of things came up this morning, right? When it comes to NBA. First and foremost, yesterday I was able to appear on my man Seven Mitchell show, the Best of Seven Sports Talk, in which it was a couple of things in which we discussed. One particular thing in which we discussed was the question that was asked. Now, if y'all ever pay attention and listen to us talk on here on First Formation, usually when it comes up about basketball, we always have a conversation. It's usually the GOAT conversation. Who is the GOAT in basketball? Of course, the depiction is there's errors. There's a GOAT in every era. So now that the season is done, there's no games going on. The off season is kind of like dwindling down. Outside the fact of any particular trades for Dame Lillard or James Harden, there's nothing really that comes up. So, of course, what is a filler is the GOAT talk. So, but this isn't GOAT talk. What we have now is Gilbert Arenas, host of Gil's Arena, another podcast by a player, put out or asked a question to his guest at the particular time, Steph Curry, guard for the Golden State Warriors, in which he asked, or somewhat, I'm paraphrasing, Steph Curry if he is the greatest point guard of all time. Now, of course, we know Steph Curry to sit up and have certain things in which he doesn't claim yet that probably he definitely deserves to claim. And one of those things is that, okay, is he the best shooter of all time? Now, in my personal opinion, Steph Curry, without doubt, is probably the greatest and the most prolific shooter of all time in basketball, all time, across all eras. I mean, because you still have people. Taking consideration people like Kyle Korver, Ray Allen, Michael Redd at one point, Drazen Petrovic, Dirk, and all that type of stuff. You take those players in consideration. But of all time in state, I think it's Steph Curry, obviously, of course. And then his running mate, Klay Thompson, isn't too far behind. So without a doubt, that's given to him. That could be given to him. Even Michael Jordan himself, his airness, still stated that he is probably the best shooter of all time, even above Reggie Miller, Craig Hodges, Mark Price, and those names of sorts. But the question was asked, are you the greatest point guard of all time? Steph Curry unequivocally stated, yes, I am him. So that brings in the question, is Steph Curry the greatest point guard of all time? In this boxing match of point guards, or who I would think would be the challenger for said Steph Curry at this point in this conversation, is none other than Irving Magic Johnson, who I believe unequivocally is the greatest point guard of all time. Now, there's plenty of people we call Chris Paul the point guard. What's the name? But we know the Zeus of point guards is definitely Irving Magic Johnson. 6'9", able to play both positions at both sides of the floor, defensively and offensively. The general of the Showtime era with the Los Angeles Lakers. One part of the defibrillator that reinvigorated and revitalized the NBA. Of course, the other one being Larry Bird. Is Magic for me. I guess I can say it's Magic. Magic Johnson is the point guard. Magic Johnson is the greatest point guard of all time. Although his record, his stats and stuff don't necessarily speak to it at this particular time because it's been time. Don't get it twisted now. He still holds some top numbers within the NBA. But of course, as time goes on, those numbers tend to dwindle. But it still doesn't take away the fact of who he is. So I don't know. Is it fair to say that Magic Johnson isn't number one? I think he is. That's just my personal opinion. I think Magic Johnson is number one. It's even hard to name Steph number two, but Steph is, in my opinion, he's pushing that. Like I said, he's pushing the GOAT talk as well when it comes down to it. But currently, but then as we sit up and spoke yesterday, was some conversations that was had that kind of like brought some things in the question. Like at this point, Steph Curry has 4 NBA championships. He's won the MVP for the said NBA championships 1 out of 4 times. Andre Iguodala won 1, and Kevin Durant won the other 2. Steph Curry has 2 NBA MVP awards. One of those 2, he was unanimous. He's the only unanimous league MVP in the history of the league. So, of course, saying that's something that not an easy feat, I guess you could say. He's number 1 all time. Holds the record for the most 3-pointers made in NBA history, and is basically just blistering that to where it's going to probably be untouchable for a while, a long time. Maybe the closest man to him is his running mate, Klay Thompson. Or LeBron's out there too. LeBron's out there, but we know, but of course that's definitely volume shooting. 2-time steals champion. So and there's a lot of accolades out there. I think Steph is a 9-time NBA All-Star. I think a 5-time NBA All-Pro. So or first team or just All-Pro, 1 to 3 team 1 to 3. So Steph has a lot of stuff that's out there, but I don't think there's enough that Steph can do to put him in the conversation or even in the same stratosphere where we can call him the number 1 point guard. The best point guard of all time. He can be favorites or people's all-time point guard, of course. You can't stop that. But sensibly, with all the facts, Steph is a hard sell, in my opinion. But you never know. But I don't think Steph is pushing. He's definitely in there. I think he's a GOAT. He's definitely, like I said, he's definitely one of the players who has revolutionized the game and changed the game, of course. But to call him the point guard, best point guard of all time, and sit with the face on it, of course, it's all circumstantial. It's all arguable, but I don't think it's hard. It's a hard sell to say Steph is the greatest point guard of all time. But of course, if he believes it, it is his reality. But it's a hard sell. Magic did a lot. I think it's easier to sell LeBron or Kobe as the GOAT, the best players of all time before you say that. I'm just here to start you. So go ahead, Coach Wayne. What you got to say? I need some people to come before the congregation. Best point guard all time since Chris Child stopped playing. Here you go, Coach Wayne with the trolling. is Chris Childs got the best right, overhand right. Snuck Kobe. Or not, that wasn't Chris Childs. I'm sorry. Same team, wrong player. But yes, best point guard all time. So of course, feel free to chime in, whatever you got, or if you got somebody that you think is in the can be added to the conversation, feel free. We got a little time for it. But until then, I will continue to go on. I guess you could say stand in. Okay, so okay, that was him. Two-piece Kobe snuck him. So continue on, right? Speaking of Kobe, as now Kobe will be added to Star Plaza in front of a crypto.com arena, as he is going to be the 7th Laker added to that plaza. So if you don't know what the Star Plaza is, the Star Plaza basically is the place in which the Los Angeles Lakers place statues for their beloved players to immortalize them in Los Angeles lore. I guess I could say. Of course, it isn't just left for players as players such as as Lakers, as players such as Wayne Gretzky, Luke Robitaille, of course, both of the Los Angeles Kings lore. Oscar De La Hoya, who was seen as being a Los Angeles great as far as boxing. And then, of course, even our own, from the media standpoint and broadcaster, Chick Hearns, all have trophies in Star Plaza in Los Angeles in front of the Crypto.com Arena, which was initially the Staples Center before being renamed Crypto.com Arena. So, additionally, already there is Elgin Baylor, Shaquille O'Neal, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Jerry West, Magic Johnson, and now will be immortalized with Kobe Bryant. So I continue to think about this, and maybe I don't need to because it's probably solidified. Is Kobe able to get? Is there well? Let me do it like this. Should someone else be immortalized before Kobe? Is there anyone else deserving to be put in Star Plaza to have their statue immortalized in Star Plaza more so than Kobe at this point? And maybe no when I think about it. Or maybe yes. I don't know. Is there coaches that should be there already? Is George Mikan or Wilt Chamberlain? Wait, I just say Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain already has it. No, he doesn't. Is there anyone else that probably is deserving of? Is there anyone that's probably more deserving than Wilt Chamberlain had a statue there? Kobe Bryant next up, but of course you have Wilt Chamberlain. You have coaches Pat Riley during that time frame. Big Shot Rob, maybe. I don't know. Is there anyone else that's probably more deserving than Kobe Bryant as a Laker to deserve that? Maybe not. Maybe the latter. If it's not Wilt Chamberlain, maybe no one else. I think the only other people might be is aforementioned, like I said, Pat Riley, Phil Jackson, but maybe not even Phil Jackson. But yeah, Kobe Bryant, in February will be immortalized with his statue in Star Plaza going forward. So, saying shout out to Kobe, yet another accomplishment reach, putting him with the Laker greats. and that would just continue to grow. More from the NBA front, I would like to say I see the writing on the wall. Starting to line up. Coach Wayne, if you're still out there, back me up on this. So it's starting to line up. I see the writing on the wall. As we know, Giannis Antetokounmpo is coming up on what is going to be another opportunity to sign with the Milwaukee Bucks. So what we have is Giannis Antetokounmpo just signed a contract that basically gave him the opportunity to opt out of his contract a year early before. So he signed for 4 years, in which the last year, of course, is a team option. So basically, this year would be the year before that last year, giving him the opportunity to even re-sign the following year, opt in to re-sign the next year, or to become a free agent. So what Giannis Antetokounmpo has stated is that he will not extend or re-sign with Milwaukee if they are not committed to building a winner in Milwaukee. He wants another championship. So what we have here is an opportunity for other teams to make a play for Giannis. What he says is he doesn't want to do a rebuild. He's not trying to rebuild. He doesn't want to be a part of a rebuild. He wants to see that all the players that he have currently are committed to winning, and that the organization is committed to winning. And if they're committed to winning, he's committed to re-signing. However, if he does not see or feel that the organization nor the players that are around him are in that same sheet of music with him, then he's not resigning, and he'll go ahead and opt out. So now what I see is a perfect opportunity for a certain organization to make a play to where they bring in yet another rising star or prime star to take over to be the face of the organization. Another potential Milwaukee player, a Milwaukee big man, to come in to be able to enact and impose their will in Tinseltown to be yet another statue at some point in the Star Plaza, as others have done prior to them. Does this set up a situation to where potentially Giannis Antetokounmpo, yet another Antetokounmpo, can be a champion in the purple and gold? Will we potentially see? Does this even afford opportunity? Is there blood in the water? Are there already people put in place to go ahead to start dropping seeds to tell Giannis, like, yo, they're on a rebuild, man. But you know who's not on a rebuild? You know who's always ready to go in some way, form, or fashion? The Lake Show. Could you see potentially where Giannis Antetokounmpo could end up with an Ellen LeBron James in the last couple of years of his contract? Can LeBron potentially, although we know he's supposed to be to be the last year of his contract, can we see a situation where LeBron may take a cut or signs another 2-year deal to where he's able to opt up out of that deal in the second year, just so he could be able to play with a Giannis Antetokounmpo if he was coming to LA, as well as Javis, and be in the league with his son? Is that a possibility? Can we potentially see that? I know LA just signed Anthony Davis to an extension, 3-year extension. Is it possible to will and deal to bring Giannis to the fray if he decides that Milwaukee is not doing what he needs to do and wants to leave the organization? Can we see another Antetokounmpo in purple and gold? It's possible. So I'll leave y'all with that. Again, great. He's been great talking, rapping a little bit. As this weekend gets ready to get upon us, I hope y'all are having a gracious time out there as you finish up your work week. And you're saying you start off the morning with myself, and y'all get ready to end it. Of course, like I said, it continues praises and congratulations to those 20 individuals, 20 plus individuals that have been named to the Army, the All Army tryout, and get an opportunity to live out a dream of playing to represent their country in a game that they love. Of course, like I said, some usual suspects, new faces, opportunities plenty. People continue to get on. Have a roll 5 day weekend yourself, my brother, going forth. And we'll be back. We'll talk about some things closer and closer to the beginning of the seasons. More content, more stuff to do. Of course, bringing back more guests, some of the same guests and what you love, as well as, of course, September 16th. If you are in or around the Oklahoma City area, pull up Military Basketball Association's All-Star Game. See Coach Parrish, Coach Alice Miller get it going as they compete amongst each other yet again, but this time taking players and kind of like moving them around, putting them on teams to be victorious. It should be a great sight, of course. I hopefully you'll be there for it. Check it out. Never know. So greatly appreciate y'all rocking this morning. Look forward to see y'all next week. Until then, I'll holler. Peace.